Sorry for the delay, for the technical difficulties there. Seems like my OBS decided it wanted to crap out on me. Turns out I was having a little bit of an internet issue, but I think I've got it all sorted out now. So we should be good to pick this back up. So where were we? Oh yes, we were just starting to move deeper into the caverns as we were discovering basically that we're going to have to watch our step in here as there's plenty of moisture and water pools, so definitely going to have to watch our step in here. We've got rock falls and collapses that have been blocking off some passages, so that's where we got. We do see that we've got some worked stone throughout this complex as we're down here, but we think the Serpent People, which is basically what probably the best description we've got for them right now, seem to use the natural formations as much as possible, where they're doing stuff like digging tunnels, creating walls, expanding chambers, and building supports only when they need to. Some surfaces are decorated with more of those carvings and some occasional unfathomable text. So as we're exploring this, let's take a geology roll to see if we can learn anything about those. So as we're looking at them, we'll take a closer look. There's a science. Looks like we'd have to take a science geology, so we'll just call it generic science. We look at them and we just admire the handiwork from them. So nothing. Admire the handiwork, but we're wondering what in the world might have done that. So we don't learn anything there. No worry about a sanity roll there. But we managed to... So we're not particularly in a hurry as we're moving through here. We're just kind of taking our time just exploring what all is in here. But one thing we do notice as we're moving through is decorated extensively with elaborate carvings of several kinds. We do see the usual snake motifs and geometric designs, but there are also plenty of murals that we see as we're walking through here. First, we've got carvings of landscapes that also have towers and other structures with them, with robed serpentine figures in various natural pursuits. We might see something like maybe scientific research or religious pursuits, stuff like that. Again, we see an enormous serpent with a crescent symbol, and we see the Serpent People being attacked by giant reptiles. So let's roll a knowledge roll. That'll be what's a no roll? Maybe just like an int roll. That's what we'll go with there. To see if we can learn anything as we're looking at that. His intelligence is a 60. That's a 63. We will spend 3 luck to make that a 45. To bring that down to a 60, so we will pass that roll. And what we'll learn as we're looking at that is we recognize the reptiles as various dinosaurs. We do see Tyrannosaurus rexes, Triceratops, and we even see some pterodactyls carrying hapless serpent people away. So we'll make a sanity roll as we realize that. I'm just making some notes here for the eventual journal entry. His sanity is currently a... Actually, that was his sanity I adjusted, but I was intending to spend 3 luck. So his luck should actually be down to 57. So now we're going to make a sanity roll at a 48. Which that's a 98, so he's going to make a mess of that. And he'll lose a little bit of sanity. As he'll lose a D3 sanity. He'll lose 1 sanity. He'll lose 1 sanity as he realizes that he'll lose a sanity due to the accurate and ancient representation of dinosaurs. And as he's continuing to look down there, as he's continuing to look at the murals, he'll see the serpent people abandoning their cities to the reptiles and moving underground. So now as we're moving through, now as we're continuing to move through the tunnel, as we're continuing moving through this tunnel, we will actually come to a vertical descent that we have to navigate. We have a few options for how we can get to it. We did think to bring some rope. So we will use rope to move down. It looks like there's, as he's looking down the tunnel, as he's looking down this vertical climb that he's got to make, he's going to, he'll notice a sturdy stalagmite that he thinks he can tie it to, which will also leave that there for the return. So we'll attempt a climb roll with a bonus die. His climb is a 20. So he's got a bonus die at this, which is the higher of the two, a 30 or a 40. So unfortunately, the 30 will... He might have to spend 10 luck, but I think he's going to fail the roll. And he will... So slips on the rope and falls unless they... He's actually going to push the roll to try to maintain his grip. I believe on a pushed roll, is it just redo the roll? So with the bonus roll as well, let me look at that. I don't know if a pushed roll gives you the bonus die again. I thought there was an index in this blasted keeper. Here it is. Let's see, pushing rolls. All right. 84. I'm making a pushed roll, okay. So yeah, let's see, pushing a skill roll. The goal must still be achievable. It's not simply a re-roll. Okay, so he's got to make the roll again. So it looks like it's not, so it doesn't get the bonus die this time. So he's just making the roll to try to regain his grip. That is a 12, so that'll be a success, which means he will regain his grip. He'll succeed to regain his grip. And he'll make the climb down, but I think he's still going to take... So, right. So I think he's going to take a D3 damage from some rope burns that he took because he had to maintain his grip. So on a D3 roll, he'll take 2 damage from trying to maintain his grip. Which this is his hit points. Oop. Down to 11. So 11 hit points on there. And I think this is probably a good place to pause and make a quick journal entry. So bear with me as I tab into, what the? Okay, what are you yelling at me about now, OBS? Once I get this sorted out, I'm going to put the stream into be right back. Looks like the audio's bit rate, which seems like everything's working fine. Hopefully you guys can hear me just fine. But I'm going to put the stream into be right back so I can make a journal entry. Actually, we never altered the scene, really. Maybe the altered scene was the damage he took. So I'll put the stream into be right back. So I can make this journal entry. All right. Let's see if I can pull this just a little bit closer so I can get down off my feet and I'm not hovering over it. There we go. Bring this back down. Right. Mm. Mm. Okay. Once again, sorry for the technical difficulties I was having with OBS earlier. I seem to have those sorted out, and now I've got the journal entry ready from the first attempted stream that I did, and now what we're coming back to. I returned to the spot where I found Josh's cigarette holder and wanted to explore the cavern further. I briefly had trouble with my footing as the terrain started sloping downward, but I was able to catch myself easily. As I explored further, I had a brief episode of fear and wanting to run away, but I remembered that my friend might be trapped further in and pushed myself on. I couldn't learn anything from the terrain as I don't specialize in geology. The murals I was seeing, though, depicted what looked like snake people being attacked by ancient dinosaurs. I couldn't believe how accurate these depictions of dinosaurs were, and it scared me a bit. I moved further in and came to a drop. Fortunately, I remembered to grab some rope earlier, so I pulled that out of my bag. I saw what I thought was a sturdy rock to tie the rope to, and the rope seemed to hold. When I went to climb down, though, I started to fall. As I realized I was going to fall, I managed to regain my grip, but I burned my hand slightly, trying to maintain my grip. So now we're at a chaos factor of 6 since nothing really much happened in that scene. Now we're coming down further. Right. So now we're coming in further. Actually, this is another scene of exploring the tunnel. I figured that pitch was probably a good place to break the scene up. That's where I stopped there. So now we're just going to make some notes here. After a drop. And now, as I mentioned, our chaos factor is 6. Scene 4. Starting the next scene. So this is another exploration scene. So let's see what happens with this scene on our chaos factor roll. Actually, I'm tabbed back in. Yes. Okay. So let's see what happens on our chaos factor this time. That's a 9, so the scene's going to play out just as envisioned. So okay, so now as we step into what looks like a music chamber of some kind, do we hear any kind of eerie music? So basically, So we're opening into a wide grotto where there doesn't look to be any kind of lichen for light, so we're going to need our flashlight here. Crystal deposits glitter as we shine our flashlight on that. The ceiling, as we cast our eyes up there, looks to be very high above our heads, probably about 150 feet high by best guess. Spreading across the far wall as we're looking there, we see some kind of structure fashioned with interlaced bronze pipes and studded with crystals of various sizes and colors. These crystals do pierce the wall in several places, while the other ends in spikes. We see a rock formation 20 feet in front of that, from the looks of it, carved into a chair of some kind, with its curving seat and back not being comfortable for humans, so probably not something we'd want to try to sit down in. And we don't see what perches atop some of the spikes. But as we draw closer to everything, and start shining our flashlights, we see human heads on the spikes, which is a little bit spooky, so I think that is going to call for a sanity roll, since seeing human heads is a little bit spooky. His sanity is currently 57, I believe. No, 48, but we definitely passed that, so we're all fine there. I also need to update some of these numbers, so luck should be at 57, and HP should be at 11. Okay. And also from that, we realize that the sound is coming from those heads, so that's a little bit out there. And looking at these these heads closer, it looks like they've been preserved pretty well, with some runes being carved into the flesh there. The eyelids, thankfully to Silas, are closed, and the mouths and muscles of the throats move as they sing. So I don't know how that's working. Some of the heads seem to belong to people of European descent, whereas some are of African descent. And the whispering song coming from those has a sort of beauty, but that's definitely looking like a scary thing. So we do hear music, a spooky beauty almost, which will call for another sanity roll. So once again, sanity is a 48. So we pass that very easily, which means we're going to lose 1 sanity from that. So that'll bring his sanity down to 47. Okay. All right, continuing to move in. That chair that he saw earlier does not look comfortable at all. So I don't think we're going to try to do anything with that. We're just going to kind of file that away. So next, as we continue to explore in this chamber, we're going to start to see a series of connected chambers, seeming to be like a den for the inhabitants of this chamber. Whereas the warrens are filthy, we see a lot of bones around here and refuse, and the smell is just overwhelmingly bad. Like something needs to be cleaned down here, but probably hasn't been in hundreds of years. So we always see a few of whatever these creatures are resting or eating and huddled in various corners. They look very fierce in protecting their young. So that's definitely an option. We do have something of a chance to search here. So let's go for a spot hidden roll to try to search. So his spot hidden is a 60. Being a PI, he's got to be able to look for hidden things. That's a 91, so he will fail that roll. He doesn't find anything as he goes searching for that. So now as he moves further into the corridor, he'll actually see he's relying on his flashlight to see that, to avoid falling into. Okay, so just looking at my notes here, if they're relying on, so the sinkhole breaks the floor. As he's looking at the flashlight, he will see the sinkhole coming on that. Whereas a successful spot hidden would be needed to avoid falling down. So it looks like as he's looking down, he looks down into the chamber. He sees that it was once connected to more caverns that are now blocked off. He probably wouldn't want to try to climb out. He doesn't have any rope down there. But there is a ledge that he'll see around there that he can use to skirt the edge of the sinkhole and walk around to the other side. So, avoids sinkhole and floor. Okay, so now we continue into the great chamber, but some of the inhabitants down there seem to be tending this garden. So the inhabitants are curious about our presence, as the warm mist is actually kind of a little bit welcome, as we're maybe a little bit warm and a little bit dirty. So the inhabitants here look at us, but we're not going to disturb them. We're just looking for our friend. So we're not going to disturb them, but we will roll a luck check to see if anything happens. So let's roll our luck check. Our luck is currently a 57. That's a 48, so nothing happens. All right, so we are all clear. We're all clear there. So we seem to. So from the looks of it, we don't know what we can consume. Some of it could be grown specifically for experiments for toxic qualities. Question is he going to eat a... Question is he going to try to eat one of these things? Actually, that's probably a constitution check to see if he's getting hungry. Would it be a constitution check for hunger, or would we roll something else? Constitution seems like it would make the most sense to roll here for that. Yes, we will roll a constitution check for hunger. And given how long he's been down here for, I'm going to give him a penalty die as he's been down here for a while. So similar to having the bonus die earlier, he's going to roll the D10s die twice. So that'll be this die. He's going to roll that twice and take the higher of the two rolls. His constitution here is a 70. That's a 63 or a 23. So he succeeds. He's not hungry, but I think he might be curious more than anything. So not hungry, but curious. So he is going to try to eat one of these. Try to eat something just to get maybe a food source out of here. So we'll eat. This will be a luck check to see what he's picked. All right, that's an 87, so he's going to fail that, which means he does fail that, so he's going to... So let's see how long he's out for. Fail, and that's probably going to be a good place to wrap this up for tonight. Well, maybe. We'll see what I think though. So yeah, we've got fail, which means we ate something poisonous. So now we have to suffer the consequences of that. So we'll roll a d4 because we're going to need to set up the consequences. So 3 hours, so in about 3 hours, he's going to begin to convulse and throw up. So eat poisonous. 3 hours later, we'll begin to convulse and throw up. And also take D10 damage. Take a D10 damage, and the stomach pains cease later. All right, so stomach pains cease 1d4 plus 1 hours later. So the stomach pains will cease after 3 hours. So it looks like when the pains cease, he starts throwing up. Okay. All right, so nothing there. And I think that's going to be it for the penalty. So as we continue to explore further, yeah, so now he's going to start to explore. So now he's going to go into the Temple of the Father of Serpents as he sees the snake motif now coming through with an enormous natural column that's been carved into the likeness of a great coiled serpent and the white crescent. So this is probably the same crescent that we saw earlier as we were going through. And actually, I'm going to take a quick drink of my Crystal Light because my throat's starting to get dry. In front of that serpent, we see an altar of some kind that seems to have been marred by stains. And as we get closer to it, we see that this is actually blood. and it's decorated with similar geometric carvings and runes to what we've seen earlier. We've also got some golden censers on the stands to flank the altar with clouds of incense. So as we see this, as we start to explore, we're going to make a power roll to see if anything happens here. His power is a 60, I believe. No, 50. Which that's a 38. So as he passes, so by passing, he will be bestowed by a vision of Yig. And he'll see a bunch of snakes of various breeds erupting from the serpent's mouth, each one of them with a white crescent on the forehead. He's quickly engulfed by the writhing masses of snakes. The snakes don't seem like they're going to do anything in terms of biting or constricting. They just crawl over and flick their tongues. And a big serpent's tongue pushes its way through the snakes, tasting the investigators. So pass vision of snakes with a giant tongue. And he's going to roll sanity on that. So he will take a sanity roll at a 47, which he will pass that, so he'll lose 1 sanity. Going down to 46. But he's also, from that experience, going to gain 2 points of Cthulhu Mythos. So that'll be 6, 3, 1. All right, and with that, that seems like another good place to... Actually, is that another good place to stop? So he's... I would say he's probably been exploring for about an hour now. So he's going to... So he's been exploring for an hour, and I think that will be a good place to stop and make a quick journal entry. We've been exploring for an hour, which means we're going to suffer, which means we're going to take our first points of damage. So a D10. 5 points of damage, yikes. So that's going to bring him down to 6 hit points from the fauna he ate earlier. And I've got to see if something happens when you lose half of your health in one shot. So let me just double check that. Constitution, see wounds, and healing. That seems like that was a pretty big hit to take in one shot. So 119 is less than half the character's maximum. All right, so it looks like it's the, let's see, regular damage. When an attack delivers equal to or greater than half, which nothing happens there. So he's going to try a first aid roll after that. His first aid is not, well, his first aid is a 30%, so takes 5 damage. A first aid roll to try to heal himself a little bit. And I think given that he doesn't have any, he didn't think to bring medical supplies with him, so it's going to be like tear a shirt for a tourniquet, something like that. His first aid, though, is a 30, which is a 92. He's going to fail at that, so he doesn't really, actually, it's not even really a tourniquet kind of thing. He's just very sick. So now I think we will stop and pause this to make another journal entry. Ow. Cracked my knee there. And that will bring our chaos factor down to 5 as well. So I'll get that updated first and foremost. And as usual, I'll put the stream into Be Right Back while I make this journal entry, but I will be around to interact with chat. Let's see, so... Hmm. Okay, so hmm. Hmm. All right, so here's our next journal entry now that I've finished this up. So as I'll tab back in, we are continuing to explore. I stepped into another chamber. I could see crystals in here, and this chamber was very tall. If I didn't know any better, the pipes and crystals looked like some kind of an organ. There was a chair like an organ player would sit in, but I didn't think it would be very comfortable to sit in, so I decided not to. Looking further in, I couldn't see what was perched on the spikes until I shined my flashlight on them. And what I saw were human heads. A lot of them. The heads were perfectly preserved, though the eyes were, thankfully, closed. The mouths and throats were moving like they were singing, though, and they were various races. That spooked me quite a bit, and I couldn't find anything further as I explored the warrens. I noticed a sinkhole rather easily with my flashlight. Looking into it, I was glad I noticed it, as climbing out of it would probably be very difficult. I was able to use a ledge to get around to the other side. Let me put in the 2 there. Heading further in, I noticed some inhabitants tending to some of the plants. I didn't feel like disturbing them. I just wanted to find Josh and get out of here. I noticed some fungi that I thought I could eat. My stomach cramped up when I tried, though, and I felt like I was going to be sick. I could hardly focus on much else other than the pain my stomach was in. I next saw a statue of a giant serpent with a white crescent symbol on its head. The altar seemed to have bloodstains on it, and when I saw it, I saw a vision of a bunch of snakes writhing around me. None of them did anything except crawl over me and flick their tongues. I eventually saw a giant tongue push through. This spooked me, but I learned a bit of something about Yig. My learning about this, however, was interrupted by puking my guts out and taking a lot of damage. Unfortunately, I need to get some help for this, but I don't think I can make it back out to get to modern medicine. So before we start scene 5, it probably took him about an hour to journal all of that. So we're going to take another round of damage from the poison. So we'll take another 3 points of damage. Is there anything for current HP, or say half of current HP? Does not look like it. So the poison continues to run through his veins. At this point, actually, we're going to take him down to 3 health, which I think this one was tracking his health, so he's at 3 right now. So I think after taking this much damage, I'm going to roll a Constitution check to see if he stays conscious after that. So this is going to be a 3 damage from poison, and we'll start with a con check to see if he stays conscious. And given that he's still focusing on the poison, I'm going to give him a penalty die. So his Constitution is a 70. That's a 44 or a 24. So he's staying conscious, but he's not doing well. So let's see if I'm going to make a luck check as well to see if he brought any kind of medicine with him. So a luck check. His luck is a 46 to see if he brought any medicine with him. That is a 44. So he does remember that he's got something he can use. So as he's rummaging through that, I'm going to roll. So a luck check. This is to remember to see if he has medicine. Let's roll a... How do I want to do this? Because I want him to be racing... What I'm trying to create the feeling of here is racing against time. So he does have medicine, but I'm going to roll another luck check to see if he's able to get to it quickly. Let's roll a luck check to see if he gets to his medicine quickly. His luck right now is still a 46. That's a 17, so that'll be a hard success, which means he'll be able to get to the medicine quickly, and he will treat if this is not performed on the same day, which it is, so he's going to roll a medicine check. Which he will fail miserably at that. So he doesn't know. So I guess he must have. So he probably forgot how to administer the medicine that he has. So as he's fumbling with all of this, he's going to take Forgets how. So this will be the last of his damage. So he's got 3 hit points left. He takes 4 points, so he's going to drop over. So he's going to fall dead from the poison. So that will ultimately do Silas in, and that will do it for this adventure of Call of Cthulhu. as we were going through the darkness beneath the hill. I'm actually kind of liking how Mythic is helping out with being able to solo these adventures. It actually seemed to work pretty well with this Call of Cthulhu adventure, to the point where I'm probably going to try it with some of the other pre-written modules, like some of the D&D stuff, maybe something in Delta Green. Dragon Age is something else I might want to well, Dragon Age I'm already using Mythic with on a freeform story, but yeah, I'm definitely going to look into exploring some of the other modules that I've got here. So really enjoying the storytelling that I can get with Call of Cthulhu and being able to play through all of this solo. So that will do it for this playthrough of Call of Cthulhu, as Silas is going to drop dead from the poison on the Lichen. We're probably going to see him again on the channel, likely with his memory wiped, though. Well, maybe not with his memory wiped. This is the mythos, after all. Anyway, let's wrap this video up. Tomorrow morning, I am going to be staying on this side of the state for another day before I travel for Christmas. Tomorrow morning, I will be doing this month's scheduled episode of Mystical Munchies out of the Magic the Gathering Cuisines of the Multiverse cookbook, as we make the entree Jumpstart Energy Bowls. Tomorrow afternoon, we're probably going to have another RPG session as we play 5 Parsecs from Home from Modifius Entertainment. Tomorrow evening, we'll probably have another session, another game of some kind on the channel, but I don't know what that's going to be yet, so stay tuned for that. Thank you for watching the video, and again, sorry for the difficulties with OBS earlier. Thank you for watching the video. Please give the video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Be sure to turn on notifications so you get my content. Be well, stay safe, take care of yourselves and your loved ones, and I'll be back with more videos in the future. Until then, take care, everyone.